Cheers. I have no idea what this series is going to be called. I think it's going to be called After Hours or something. Alright, let's do this. So what am I going to talk today about? Well, I did have a story time that I want to talk to you about, and it involves the teenage sensation, especially, well, when I was a teenager. The teenage sensation that is Pokemon. For the record, I prefer Digimon to Pokemon, so fucking suck it up. Pokemon was good and all, but Digimon had like the best fucking theme tune, if I can remember it. Something champion, I think. And then there was a guy in the middle that was like, change into digital. God, actually, it's really shit. I need to find that actually, hang on. It's one of the most late 90s, early 2000s sounding theme songs I've ever heard. Look, I cried during the Digimon movie. The opening of the Digimon movie when I was 9, but I specifically remember crying at the opening scene where the two giant Digimons were fighting each other. I don't know why, but I remember turning to my mother and said, did you cry at that opening scene? Because I did. I've never cried at a film before because I was just like, so young. I just didn't have that kind of, I didn't have that capacity to cry at films at that age, I guess. And my mum very nicely said, yeah, I did. And I think she just looked at me like, what a fucking weirdo. What kind of son did I bring up? Look, it's not about Digimon. This video is not about Digimon. I'm talking about Pokemon, the bigger version that obviously people nowadays know more about. So, here comes another story time with Dan. So if you watched the previous story time, you would have known that I grew up in Ireland from the ages of about 5 to 14 years old. And that's why my accent is so weird, I guess, to some people. It's not entirely Irish, it's not English. It kind of sounds Canadian a little bit. People get confused all the time. But I essentially am British, but I lived in Ireland for a long period of time and my accent went all over the place, and here it is today for you at the age of 28. So this is another story when I was in Ireland, and it just shows you how, I guess, weird and gullible I was at that age. So I remember being in a toy store in Ireland, and this toy store had like 2 floors. It was so massive. In Ireland, anything that had 2 stories or 2 floors was considered like a chapel of commerce. It was like, whoa, got a huge building in here, even though it's just like a 2-floor thing, and it's probably really small, those 2 floors. So I go into this toy store in this shopping center, and I'm buying, I think at the time I was actually buying trading cards, Pokemon trading cards. And at this point, Pokemon is fucking huge. It is, they just came out with the first Pokemon movie at this point, I think. And it's in the cinema and people are already going to cinema, and then they're coming out of the cinema, going to the toy store, buying Pokemon stuff. And there's a Pokemon section right at the front of this store, in this toy store. And it's just covered in merchandise all over the place. Like the whole entire front facing of the store was just Pokemon, because that's what everyone is at the time. So I think I went there with my guardian at the time to go and buy some Pokemon cards. And then as we get to the checkout, I remember there being a stack of leaflets, and I remember that so well because they were like this brightly orange leaflets that were just kind of stacked. A lot of people could come in and just leave these either business cards or local listings or anything like that, anything local. A lot of people will leave these stacks of business cards or leaflets on this table as you leave this toy store. And I saw these stack of orange leaflets, and on the front of it, it had a Pikachu. So me being me, a big Pokemon fan at the time, I decided to pick up this leaflet because I see Pikachu, and I can't remember the words exactly, but I'm going to paraphrase here, so bear with me. So on this leaflet, it said, do you want to be a Pokemon master? My brain immediately goes, yes, I do. Do you have what it takes to catch them all? Yeah, I think I do. Why not go to the Radisson Hotel in Galway, which is the county I lived in Ireland, go to the Radisson Hotel. This is a bit foggy for me, but I think I remember it. At the bottom of the leaflet it said, "We are looking for Pokemon Masters to join a tournament. The winner of this tournament would get a gym badge." My first initial reaction to this was, Pokemon are real? So I'm young as hell, and I immediately thought that this leaflet meant that if you go to the Radisson Hotel, they have Pokemon. Like, I don't know, in their garden or something. I don't know. My mind at this point, I can't really relate to it because I was like, what am I thinking years later? But I thought that they had Pokemon. They had real life Pokemon. And they wanted to grab a group of kids at the Radisson Hotel who thought they could be good Pokemon masters and get them to partake in a tournament and battle each other out using these Pokemon. I'm not kidding. My eyes lit up when I saw this leaflet. Because I saw the picture of Pikachu, it didn't say anything else but, are you a Pokemon master or do you want to be a Pokemon master? And I saw the gym badge and I thought, oh shit, just like in the TV show when they battle each other in the gyms and the winner gets a gym badge from the gym leader. This is my first badge I could get, and I'm going to get it at the Radisson Hotel in Galway City. So I take the leaflet, bring it home, and I stick it right on my wall, and I look at it every single day. Now, it's about a week before this tournament starts, so I am looking at this every single day. Every time I finish school, I come back, I can't sleep, I'm lying in my bed looking at it going, oh my god, I'm gonna see Pokemon for the first time. I can't believe, oh my god, I'm going to finally see a Pokemon for the first time. I'm going to probably own one. I might even get a gym badge. I can't describe to you how excited I was the days leading up to this tournament happening. I think it was happening on a Sunday at this Radisson Hotel. And I was so excited about it. I couldn't contain myself. So I had to explain to my guardians at the time I wanted to go to a hotel and to try catch Pokemon, which is quite an interesting conversation to say the very least. They had no fucking idea what Pokemon was and they just thought, look, Dan he wants to go do something on Sunday, we'll drive him up. They didn't ask any questions. I did explain, oh, I'm gonna be going to this hotel with a bunch of other Pokemon masters and we're gonna go find some Pokemon, battle each other, and the winner gets a gym badge. They didn't give a shit. So on Sunday, I get driven to the Radisson Hotel. My heart is going like this. I am so excited. I brought a wind-up camera with me because I wanted to take photos of the Pokemon and me posing with the Pokemon and just having a great day. They said that the event will last for about 5 to 6 hours, so I was like, that's loads of time for me to go catch these Pokemon and pose with them and battle other people that are going to be there, and we're all going to have a great time and everything, and I just can't wait for it to happen. So let me recreate the events of what happens next, because man, I don't think I've ever been more upset in my life after what happens here. So we get into the hotel and there's a lady on the reception desk and I say to her, I'm here for the Pokemon tournament. And she's looking at me like, what? What are you talking about? And I hold up the leaflet and she says, oh, okay, yeah, just go to function room B down the end of the hall. So it was in a function room. Like, I guess we're all gonna meet in this room in this hotel, and then maybe they drive us out to where they found the Pokemon, or maybe they're in the back, or maybe they're in the garden and then they let them out of the cages or something, and then we just, throw Pokeballs at her or something. I didn't know. That's what my mind was thinking at the time. So we go into this function room and there's a guy sat on a table. So we go into this function room and what can only be described as a place where they would have like disco nights is what it is. It looks like kind of like a nightclub. It doesn't look like a place a 9-year-old kid should be, definitely. But they have the lights kind of on so it's not as dark. And as you get through the door, there's a guy just waiting by the door and he's sitting on a chair and a table, and one of the table's legs is kind of half missing at the time. So he's kind of like balancing the table. He had a table that was kind of like falling apart essentially, and he had like a bunch of documents. So I walk up to him and I will do impressions of Irish people. I probably will add subtitles for this, but this is exactly the way things played out, but here we go. So I walk over to him and I show him the leaflet and go, I'm here for the Pokemon tournament. And he looks at me with the like most uninterested face in the world, and he just says, hey, just go over there and I'll find the rest of the lads. They'll be over there somewhere, you know, they're all sat in the back there, you know. So he tells me to go into the back because there's a bunch of other players there waiting, and I go into the back and my guardian is like signing forms and shit, just saying like, he's saying, oh, it's okay for you to leave your son here with me. It sounds so wrong now when you think about it. It was just this guy who was in his like 40s, I think, and there's a bunch of kids just like left with him for the day, and obviously the parents either went to the bar in the hotel or they just went home. That's just the way things were back then. Like, we didn't worry about the sort of things we worry about nowadays, I would say, but thinking about it, it was so wrong if you think about it now. And I go to the back and there's about 10 boys my age and they're all wearing Pokemon gear, and the guy has an Ash Ketchum hat. There's a guy who took it to the fucking extreme and he had the whole like cosplay of Ash, even like Pokeballs strapped to his belt and everything. He was the first cosplayer I probably ever saw before the term cosplayer was a thing. So that's pretty significant, I guess. So we get into the back and I'm chatting with all these guys and I'm like, oh God, I can't wait. Can't wait to finally get some Pokemon. What Pokemon are you interested in? Guy or boy A. And one of the boys says to me, which starts unraveling this mystery of catching the Pokemon. He says to me, well, I've already got some. And I go, what? Where? He said, I got some already. Like, I brought them with me. I was like, you brought Pokemon with you? Where did you get them? He's like, I don't know, my mum and dad got me them. And I'm sat there going, what the fuck? You can buy Pokemon? So I asked him, where did you get them? He said, the toy store. And I didn't put one and one together at this point. And I had no idea what he was talking about. I just, in my mind, thought, you can buy Pokemon. That's all that was in my mind. At this point, the 40-year-old who's running this event comes into the back where we're all sat on these chairs. And he starts to explain to us the rules of the tournaments. So he starts to explain to us, because there's 10 of us, we're gonna have 5 matches and we're gonna narrow it down to, until we get to the last 2, to see who's the best Pokemon master here. Probably sounded a bit like this. So no, you go to all you lads over there, no, there's about 10 of you there, no. If one of you, if you're getting groups 2 now, you start fighting each other, and then we get semi-final, quarter-final, and a final. Or quarter-final, semi-final, and the final. Then you'll be able to like, we'll have like a Pokemon master at the end of that. Is that alright, lad? I'm so sorry, Irish people, if you're watching. I really don't want to offend you. Like, I know, you know that there are people out there who have really deep, thick Irish voices. So there's this guy, or this 10-year-old kid who's got his eyebrows shaved off, and that was a thing that was very popular back in the day as well, especially in Ireland. Every child had their eyebrows shaved off. Just slits kind of going through that stupid fucking thing. So as soon as this guy says for us to get ready to fight each other, I'm like, I'm ready to go. Let's see what the Pokemon are. Every single kid around me, there's about 9 of them, I said 9 or 10 of them, they all open their little like bags, or they open up their pockets, or they just reach down into their pockets or jackets or something, and they all pull out stacks of cards. Pokemon cards, like the ones in the toy shop. And I'm sat there with a camera and nothing else but my dignity, which at this point was starting to fade away pretty quickly. So all these boys are pulling out like stacks of Pokemon cards, or the decks that they've obviously brought with them. And the guy who's running this event is looking around, and he looks at me and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, dude, where's the fucking Pokemon? You said there would be Pokemon, right? In the leaflet? I didn't say that to him, I was just thinking that way. But he looks at me and he instantly knows what's happened. Like, he just knew, I think, at that moment, the misunderstanding from me going in going, I'm here to catch Pokemon, with the leaflet, being so excited about it. And he says to me, do you have any cards with you? I go, Pokemon cards? No. He's like, this is a tournament for battling with Pokemon cards. Now, I never knew this. I didn't know Pokemon cards were actually used for like a game. Like, I didn't know that the trading cards, you could actually use them for, like, you know, Pokemon trading card game. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought you just collected the cards because they had nice pictures on them and they were sometimes shiny. I didn't pay attention to like the numbers and stuff on the Pokemon cards. So I'm at this point feeling embarrassed because all the kids are looking at me and they're all like waiting for me to take out my cards and they're like, where's your cards? And then the 40-year-old guy is like, where's your cards? And I feel so embarrassed at this point. And I just say, oh, I haven't got any. And he's like, well, you're gonna need some cards to play. And I'm like, okay. Pokemon are real, and I was so excited about it. I'm like, I couldn't contain myself. And I walk out of the building. My guardian is there drinking, and he thought I'd be gone for ages. And he says to me, "Well, that was quick." And I go, "Yeah, it was." He said, "What happened?" I was like, "Don't want to talk about it. Just can we go home?" We drive home. I go into my room and I start crying. And I'm so upset because I spent about a week being so hyped up for this. So I thought I was going to see some real Pokemon and I never did. And what it ended up being was a trading card game tournament. And the winner gets a cheap badge. They use the most kid-friendly language in that leaflet to make you think that you're going to be battling real Pokemon, but they never mention anything about trading card games. It obviously showed that all the other kids had more sense than I did because they obviously knew what this was on about. And I had absolutely no idea. And I went there with a fucking camera intending to take pictures of Bulbasaur on my back. And that's the end of that story. I think very soon after this, I was like, fuck Pokemon, I'm going to fucking Digimon. Screw you, I'm out of here, bye. But hey, anyway, that's the end of that story, and that's the end of this episode. I don't know what I'm going to call this at the bottom. It may still be story time. Maybe Editing Dan might say yes or no here. There we go. But I want to try to do something that's a little bit more off the cuff. Just like a nice, chill, casual chat about things. I don't know what else I'm going to talk about. Obviously, I could talk about previous experiences, but I'll run out of ideas for that. But then again, I could just talk about something that's in the news or something that's completely random that I just want to chat on camera about. And that's kind of what this series is about. If you do like it and it sounds interesting or it kind of sounds like, oh, this is going to be crap, don't do it. Let me know. Let me know if you thought this was interesting enough. I know this is pretty much like the previous episode of Storytime, but let's have a different feel to it. Let's have a bit more of a casual chat and a drink. Bring your glasses of milk next time. And we'll have a great old time. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this episode, and I shall see you in the next one. That's the worst sign-off I've ever done in my life.